Hola, hola, ¿cómo están? Estamos arrancando esta transmisión en vivo, donde voy a estar platicando con mi amiga y colega Diana Stobo, ahorita que se conecte. Y bueno, mientras voy saludando, gracias a Rivas, gracias a Ariane Garnier, gracias. Ahí está Dianita. Tiene que pedirme, Diana, you have to ask me to be in the conference room so I can add you. Yeah, aquí está. Ok. Hola Andrea, ¿cómo estás? Hey, wow,
There we are.
I love your
I know.
looks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm all tied up in hairs.
That's beautiful. I love the way you change yourself, like I'm expressed in different ways every time. I'm going to introduce you in Spanish for all my people, but
Okay.
thank you for being here and then we'll start chatting, okay? Bueno, chicas, chicos, todos, mil gracias por estar aquí. Estoy con Diana Stobo, que es una gran amiga, es colega, es una innovadora y líder en la industria del bienestar global. Lleva años haciendo esto, igual que yo. Ha escrito más de una decena de libros y ha ganado premios por varios de ellos. El más famoso se llama Get Naked Fast, Desnúdate rápidamente. Ella es chef de formación clásica, entonces tiene una escuela de cocina espectacular, experta en nutrición y fue una de las pioneras en el movimiento de alimentos crudos en el mundo. Es pionera también en el tema de la comida como medicina, es experta en salud digestiva, en balance hormonal, en sexo, en longevidad, en control de peso, en desintoxicación. Tiene una barra que se llama The Truth
Did you say I'm
Bar.
an expert in sex?
Well, I mean,
I,
you're an
I
expert
am,
in,
but I
well, we all want to be, and we all
well, they
want to,
10,000 hours. 10,000 hours makes you an expert. I think I'm an expert.
I think you are, we're over 50. So that just because of that fact, I mean,
Exactly.
we can call ourselves experts in that matter. It's like long time.
I love that. I'm going to use that title. The best.
Okay. Well, when you're an expert in hormonal balance, like sex is
Yeah.
that directly implicated. So I think everything is together, and food is implicated with hormones, and stress is implicated with sex and food and hormones. So it's kind of like the whole loop, right?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Let me say more about you because you're
Okay.
also an entrepreneur.
Uh,
Tú es una empresaria increíble que no tiene miedo a nada, tiene un pedacito de paraíso en el cielo que se llama The Retreat. Es uno de los lugares más hermosos que hay y para los que no sepan, este lugar tiene el premio al mejor spa de bienestar de las Américas. O sea, y eso no es fácil porque it takes a lot of work to have a place that pristine, that pure. The service is amazing. The spa is mind blowing. So, well, you're an entrepreneur. You are an expert in a lot of topics. You are a fearless, beautiful woman. And thank you for being here, Diana. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you and to share to you with my people and the people that is following or chasing a different way of life, especially in these times. So we're going to talk about a lot of beautiful things. We're going to talk about supplements after 40. We're going to talk about longevity. We're going to talk about immunity. We're going to talk about detox for body and mind. So let's get started. How you look
First of all,
beautiful.
I,
Tell me.
I have to say, I don't know if this translates into Spanish, but we say birds of a feather flock together. So
Okay.
everybody who's on the call between you and I and so many amazing women, we're of like mind, and so we find each other, which is really nice.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
Birds
beautiful
of a feather.
because yeah, it's like the women supporting each other and women being like holding space for each other. This is what's everything about. It's about this series is called Breathe from the Heart, Respira con el Corazón, which means like just like take everything out of our minds and take it to the heart because this is the time for the feminine energy to express in the world, to break structures, to really embrace the self-care, the self-love, the feminine, the pause, the slow pace, you know.
Oh, it's a
So
perfect time for this discussion, because for the last 6 months, as everybody has been quieter, more steady, that's all I've done is really find my breath again, and from
mm,
my corazón.
yeah,
Because when you're running around and your mind is so busy, you I don't know about you, but I lost my breath. I lost my
yeah,
practice, and I lost my breath. And once I lose my breath, my body starts to hurt, and then it goes
mm,
off balance, and I can't find strength in my work, in my relationships, in my
mm,
family. Everything is just a little tweaked, and it's not great. So as soon as you find your breath again, everything
mm,
starts to even out and flow. And it's I'm not happy about the craziness in the world today, but I'm so grateful for the
mm,
6 months that I've had to rediscover my breath, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you. Good timing.
No, me too, you know, because breath is the air, you know, the air is what gives you freedom. The air is what gives you life or gives you death. And it's like as it's super fluid. It's something that you cannot control. So if you hold yourself with the breath, then you're all set because you are warranted to flow and to just like be present, be in the moment without trying to control. And
Right.
just being, for me it was, yeah, it was beautiful. Also the beginning of the pandemic, I was with that deep sciatica pain for 3 months, just like not being able to sit or move or whatever. And I understood that this was the next level of me understanding the pain and the blessings of not being able to move, and the
Yep.
blessings of not being able to judge myself or my body, but just like ride in the wave and be present. And now, thanks God, the pain has gone completely. And I
Well,
found,
every pain has a metaphysical, emotional
hmm,
attachment.
tell
And
us about that. Tell us
well,
about that.
the sciatica is connected to relationships and money,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and relationships with money. So either before the pandemic or during the pandemic, the first thing we all freaked out about
Yeah,
was
that's
how
money.
do we continue to
Yeah,
survive in
totally.
the right, and our relationship with not only the people around us but
Mm,
ourselves
yeah.
in regards to who are we in the world. And I think that sciatica, I definitely had the back pain too. I didn't have sciatica this time, but every time I have a sciatica pain, I go, okay, what's going on with my relationships, and how do I feel about my financial situation?
Okay.
And so it's very interesting. Your quiet time and your breath creates your stability and your emotions, and that's
Mm,
why your pain subsided, because you found yourself again. And right? It appears out of nowhere, like, how did my back start to hurt?
yeah.
And then suddenly life is going and it's flowing, and you're like, oh, I forgot. The pain's gone. I forgot
Yeah.
about the pain. Not like all of a sudden you healed it. It just disappeared one day because
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally you were in a good place. So it just
Totally.
changed. Yeah.
And also, you know, when you're like in this, we're both women after 50. We don't look like, but you know, whenever you like cross that line, it's beautiful because it's like you don't need to show to anything to anyone anymore. It's kind of like this
No.
self affirmation in which you can do whatever you want. And I personally feel better now than in my 20s. I wouldn't
Oh,
trade.
oh yeah.
So yeah,
I
yeah,
think most women, as they learn to love themselves and appreciate
yeah,
themselves, you realize how many years we wasted worrying about the smallest things, from our own physical way, who likes me, who doesn't like me. Oh my gosh, I remember when I was raising my kids, and I walked into the store, grocery store, and a woman would look at me weird. She was a mother at school,
yeah,
and it was like, because we're so insecure, we're like, did I do something
yeah.
wrong? Does she think
Mm.
I'm this or that? And I'll never forget when I started doing Kundalini. Oops, did I lose you? Oh, there you are. When I started doing Kundalini yoga and
Mm.
started finding my breath, my
Ah,
teacher said to me, she says, you know that lady in the store who kind of snubbed her nose at you? I said, yeah. And she goes, she was thinking about, do I get eggs, milk, If you're thinking tonight, she's not thinking about you.
Yeah.
And wow,
Totally.
you really waste a lot of time worrying about what people think of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't it
don't do
liberating
that
to
anymore.
be able to just focus in yourself and in creating and in your job and in your expanding your light and your service instead of paying attention in what does the people are thinking about us while we're talking about what we want to talk?
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
liberating, so liberating. And well, in these times of like I think the most important thing now is like, of course, self-love and be present and be paused, but also watch out for our immunity, because we're so used to cure sickness. And we're all, I cannot think about anyone that doesn't want to boost their immunity and really like be strong in the body, to be strong in the mind, and to be strong holding the space for whatever that is going to emerge after this that we don't quite know yet.
right.
And what are you? I want to know what are your like favorite immunity practices or tools? Like three of them that like the most important that everyone should like do or be
It's,
with.
I don't want to sound so metaphysical again, but the number one is laughter.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
The number one thing is smile and laugh
Mm-hmm.
as much as
Mm-hmm.
you can, because it's like nothing your body will not accept anything that you don't want and that you don't allow in.
Mm-hmm.
So even if there was a bug flying by and it was the deadly bug, if you're laughing and you feel good, it's not going to attach to you.
Yeah.
It wants to go where somebody is angry and fearful,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to attach to something acidic and toxic.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, again, birds of a feather, like attracts like. So if you're happy and smiling and you live a life in flow, most likely you won't catch anything, and that also builds the strength within. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. Often, I think that if you don't have a green juice every day, to me that's medicine. And if you one green juice every day will cure anything. I know that I just went to the beach for 5 days and I didn't have my green juice every day, and on day 4 or 5 I really didn't feel so great. I'm like, I gotta go home and getting my
Yeah.
green juice,
Yeah.
you know and sleep. I
Yeah.
think we
Okay.
underestimate sleep. And I've been sleeping really well, and it's not just sleep on how many hours you sleep, it's how well you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's that deep. And how do you know? If you're grinding your teeth, you're probably not sleeping that well.
Mm-hmm.
If you're waking up tired, you're probably not sleeping that well.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things. And sweating. You got to
Yeah.
sweat every day,
Yeah.
whether
Beautiful.
it's physical activity or in a sauna or something. You want to make sure you eliminate,
Mm-hmm.
because you're eliminating toxins, and then you're only keeping, if you're eliminating during sweat or through exercise or whatever, and then you're putting green juice back into your body, just think of the balance there. How beautiful is that? Out with the old, in with the new. Out with the bad, in with the good. That builds your immunity as well. And
Yeah.
it makes you laugh more.
Yeah. And create space for laughing and create space for the good to go inside, because other way, and whenever you sweat just not just toxins, but emotions, but bad vibes, but like thoughts, but everything. So it's like, what are we doing to sweat every day?
Yes.
To sweat the small stuff and really focus on what's important.
It was a little
Wow.
hard to sweat this week with all this carpeting.
How do you sweat with all that? Do you
Put it up.
bath normally? Like if you wouldn't have like,
I have
that's
to take a
beautiful.
handheld and go in there.
Did you actually paint them, or it's like or it's
No, this is synthetic. So
okay?
mine is the brown stuff, and the rest is synthetic. And
Okay, that's
Lindsay, in the kitchen, she did it for me. That's what happens when you
beautiful.
don't have full house.
Well, you get to change, and change is beautiful. You allowed yourself to change and navigate with change, and like a jump into the unknown. It's how am I going to look with threats? How am I going to look if I just like shave my head? How am I going to feel if I just like jump into something that I have never done before?
There's this
Like.
a piece of art from an artist in San Francisco, and it's a photograph, but it's obviously a painting photograph, and it's a very steep cliff, and the woman is standing at the edge of it with her hands held out, and she's falling. And I love that painting so much because you don't see what's below. You don't know if she's going to land, where she's going to land. All you know is that she is trusting that her wings will carry her. And I look at that photo and it makes me want to cry because that's how I live my life. You know, every day I jump into the unknown, and people say I'm courageous. People say I'm crazy. You could call me whatever, but I think I'm just trusting, you know, and I believe in myself, or I believe in the universal guidance, you know.
And what have you done to trust your wings that much? Like to really say, you know, what's in that wings that you can really trust in them and just jump out of a cliff with confidence. What does Diana does to jump off a cliff and trust her wings?
You know, I don't know if I do anything to trust, but I definitely try to eliminate fear.
Okay. And how do you do that?
Well, you know, there's a fine line, right? The fine line is you either act in love and everything you do is love and trust and openness and flowing. And then there's fear and there's anger and there's distrust and it's a fine line. And we all jump over it, you know, especially let's just say when COVID hit and I have a hotel, I was like, fear. And then I gathered myself and jumped back into love. And nothing really changes whether you are in fear or not, except the outcome. And the outcome is how you feel. And how you feel changes the outcome. So I think I just look at things and go, don't think about what would happen wrong. Just go all in with love. And the funny part about it is that sometimes I jump off the cliff. And
I know you. I have seen you.
I do it quite often. And when I do it, I think I'm going to fall somewhere, and I end up going somewhere totally different.
Okay.
So it's never a bad thing. It's just a different thing than I had expected. I think that's where trust is you know, let's just talk about love for a minute. Some people who have had their heart broken never love again, right? They say, I'm done. I'm afraid if I love again, what's going to happen? I don't want to get hurt. So if you go in with the fear of, I don't want to get hurt, you're never going to love again.
Yeah.
But if you go in with, let's see what happens. Vamos a ver. And then next thing you know, you may be in a totally different place than you expected. But it's all good. It's just not expected.
Yeah. It's just to be courageous to allow life to express through you, you know, because you never have the outcome that you want. That really I mean, if you see on the back, that rarely happens because we plan for something and it comes out some other way. So if we can connect that dots like in the future and look behind and say, wow, every time I tried to do something the way I wanted it to be the come out, it was not like that. So why shouldn't I plan ahead, trusting in nothing is going to come out the way I want, but maybe even better. But if I don't jump, I will never know.
You know that saying, we plan, God laughs.
Yeah, totally. And also, like, I think so, again, about self-love, you know, about being able to trust. When I was very young, I used to have this recurrent dream in which there was this high stair and I was falling. And 2 seconds before hitting the ground, I was waking up in fear because I'm going to hit the floor. And one day I decided, you know what? I'm going to allow myself to fall because it's so tired to keep on waking up and trying to not to fall, you know. So one day I decided just like to see what happens. And I was falling down. And the minute I was going to hit the floor, I was back on the stairs again and falling again. And it was this loop of just falling and never hitting anything, never hurting myself. So that's kind of like something that I use
cool.
every time that I'm afraid to say, okay, if I just like drive myself or allow myself to feel the fear without thinking that I'm going to crash, maybe this fear is going to convert in something else. And that happens.
Yeah.
That actually happens. And you change the energy, right? And well, talking about self-love, how do we self-love ourselves? Because we can talk about love and the whole afternoon, because that's the most important. But like, what's the practical tools? For example, we're older than we're 50 or 45 and older. What do we need to know to take care of ourselves? Because a lot of people or viewers, they don't know what should they do, what supplements they should, in spite of like doing exercise or running or whatever. Do we need to supplement to boost our immunity? Or what are your favorite supplements or things that we need to, because the energy needs to be build it in our body, also with the food, because we don't need like all the supplement, all the minerals or everything that we need. So what do you do and what do you recommend? I have my favorites, but I want to hear yours first.
Well, I think I had a couple of thoughts, and my thoughts were ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that when someone asked me probably 10 years ago, do you love yourself? And my response was, well, yeah, I love myself. I take care of myself. You know, I eat well, I exercise, I do all these things. And then I said, they said, well, do you love yourself? Now I'm getting irritated. I'm like, yeah, I just told you. Well, do you take time for it? Yes, I get massages. I get facials. I make sure that I, do extracurricular things. Or all the, and she's like, but do you love yourself? And I'm like, now you're irritating me. What do you mean? Do I love myself? And she says, do you love yourself when you're mean? Do you love yourself when you're angry? Do you love yourself when you're beautiful? Do you love yourself when you're not beautiful? Do you love yourself on those days when you feel horrible? Do you love yourself on the days that you yell at someone, as well as the days when you're loving on someone? And she kind of laid it all out on the polarity of loving yourself. And basically she's saying, you got to love yourself no matter what. And just accept that every part of you is part of you. And it's all part of self-love. And if you punish yourself or if you judge yourself or you're angry because of your actions or your thoughts, thoughts, right? How many thoughts do we have each day that we're like, ooh, cancel that. That's not a good thought. But we do. But love yourself anyway, because there is no such thing as perfection. Now, how do you care for yourself on a daily basis? Everybody's different, I think. I think everybody's different. Some people, like me, I need to be physically active. I need to drink but some people, I don't know. Maybe they need to sleep more. Maybe they need to be nourished 3 times a day. And this is interesting because I've learned a lot about that through our program here at the Ayurveda. We all have different constitutions. And so your constitution may need something different than my constitution needs. And we have to honor that. But what we tend to do, which is where self-love leaves the house, is when we compare ourselves. To you. Wow, look at Carla does yoga every day and she hikes and boy, she looks so lean because she eats this food. I eat the same food. I'm doing yoga. Maybe I should hike. Maybe I should be as strong as Carla. And next thing you know, we're going down into judgment instead of just honoring who you are, what you do, and finding your homeostasis, that place that makes you feel good. I tend not to give anybody a specific formula, but ask them what the formula works for them. And I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this are thinking, I have a formula, but then I read that's not correct.
Yeah.
And then they change their formula to fit into, and then they're not comfortable. So I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah. And also there's the same formula that works for you in certain time of your life stops working for you. And you have to change the formula for yourself. And maybe you're vegan and then you need to start eating meat, or maybe you need to like slower the pace of exercise. I used to do a lot of yoga, like Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga. And one day my body just said like, you know what, Carla, you're all rusty, you're all like masculine energy, super tough, and you're like controlling life. And but you do yoga
Stretch
every
more,
day,
relax. Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So life took me into the space of like, leave your asana practice at all. Just
Freezing.
the asana practice, Yeah, are we there again? Yeah, there was something
Yeah, yeah.
trying to call. I think it's Sergio. You're Sergio trying to call me. The chef.
You tell Sergio not to call Carla. She's on an IG. Sorry about that. See, it's one big happy family. We're all
Yeah.
connected. Yeah.
Yes.
We're
Okay.
here.
Well, I was saying that, so I had to stop my asana practice completely and not even doing yoga anymore, because I was hurting myself with the idea of I need to be
Yeah.
strong and I need to be a yogi. So I had to stop the asana practice and start just like going inside for the meditation. And yes, I was not as fit as before, but I was able to open space in my body, in my mind, and I needed it, And then I came back with a more soft stretch movements, and with a more, being kind to myself, but not trying to
Be
compare
kind to
myself
yourself.
with someone else, And in terms of Ayurveda, I'm super Pita. So
Yeah.
imagine myself being Pita and
Me
also doing
too.
Ashtanga, Vinyasa, yoga, and also then running. And it was like my masculine energy was so high that I was not able to really feel the life going through me, even if you're a yogi. So it's not what you do, but from what space you do it. How do you do it?
Right.
And how do you connect with that? And in terms of Ayurveda, as you said, I love it because it really defines what you are, and everything is related, the taste, the heat,
Yeah.
the time of the day. Tell us a little bit about Ayurveda, because I love it, and maybe there's a lot of people that doesn't
Well,
know
I
about this
dabbled in
practice.
Ayurveda when I was in India, and
Okay.
I loved it. I felt amazing, and so I kind of got enough information to know that when I opened my retreat center here, my spa, that it was going to be an Ayurvedic spa. Now, the depth of the Ayurveda that we have here, I had no idea. I'm not gonna lie. I was blown away when I sat down with Dr. Vinod and went through all the lessons, and how deep and this is 7,000 years old.
Yeah.
This is a practice that is beyond just what is your constitution, what is the food you eat, what kind of yoga do you do. It is a level of, and I did an IGTV on it, but it was so intense we had to break it up into like 6 different versions, because
Wow.
he talks about how, the first layer of the egg, let's call it, getting to the nucleus, is food. So food is the primary. That's what shakes everything, right? And then we go into the ego and intellect, and your intellect meaning also your past. Like, what were you taught as a child? And you spend your whole life building this information, right? And then you spend the second part of your life getting rid of the information that you were taught, right? And it all goes down to finally happiness. The nucleus is happiness. So, and I'm botching it, but the layers and the depth of each treatment, each food, everything that you do in Ayurveda is about getting to happiness. The nucleus is who you are. And it's interesting when Dr. Bernard showed me this, because when I do my retreats here, I always talk about the outer shell of who we are. And I ask these questions, and if you're listening, write these questions down. What are three words that people use to describe you? Like, Carla, what are 3 words that people use to describe you? And not what
Well,
you describe yourself. People, you hear it over and over. You've heard it since you were a child. 3 words.
okay. One is like that I am a good listener. Another one is that I'm beautiful. And another one is that I'm perfect. And that got sticked into my, like, I grew up with my feminine lineage being so perfect in life.
That's a heavy burden.
That's a heavy
Be
one,
perfect
because
all.
yeah, you're beautiful, but then you need to be perfect. because that's
So
kind
when
of like
you,
the trade-off, you know. It's kind of like you cannot be not perfect if you're not beautiful. If you, so it's kind of like it was a burden, and I took many, many, many years in just like allowing myself not to be perfect and being honest instead.
well,
Still, I
this is a part of you that it's más o menos out of your control.
yeah.
It's who you represent. You're not going to be ugly. You were born beautiful. Your perfection is perhaps how you hold yourself, how you do things, and your listening is part of the beauty of who you are. These are things that are kind of, these are the outer parts of Carla.
Yeah.
Okay? But when you go down to the nucleus and you go into the happiness, that core, that's deep, like you know who you are. You were born this way, and it's not always beautiful. It's not always, the inside isn't always what the outside represents, right?
Yeah.
It's who we are. What are three words you would use to describe yourself on a core level?
Like silent. I love silence.
Interesting, huh?
Wow, it's interesting. It's difficult, you know. It's like
Yeah.
silent, yeah, like purpose driven, and I like service. If I don't have a purpose, I cannot like move, not even
So,
move. So to go to pay the rent or to pay the bank, I mean, I don't even do it. I need to have a purpose. But yeah, it's difficult to look at your own light.
yeah. So here's a Carla, true Carla, and here's the exterior Carla.
Yeah,
And so all those layers in between are what causes sciatica pain, which
yeah,
causes a disease,
so
which
it
gives
is.
hormonal issues, which causes stress or dysfunction. It's about these two meeting each other because the outer is expected. That's expected of you.
Yeah,
You know, I've coached a lot of people, and one of the things that they ask is, they're like, they say I'm cute, they say I'm nice, and they
yeah,
say I'm funny. I'm like, you're cute, nice, and funny. That's
yeah.
great. But is that really your soul? Cute, nice, and funny? Or is cute, nice, and funny the personality that you put on to protect
Yeah,
or
what you really are.
who you really are? So finding that common denominator between the outside and the inside, I believe, is what happens with Ayurveda. It's kind of like it's going in through the layers and layers and layers and layers of you finding yourself. And it's stripping away. It's all about stripping away the facade, the falsities, the fake news.
Yeah,
that and it is. It's how we put ourselves out there, but we're probably unaware. I mean, when I was younger, I remember people said I was trouble, I was crazy, right? But not crazy like crazy, but like crazy like I was very expansive. Okay, why would that be trouble? I think it was trouble
yeah,
because my inner core as a woman is courageous. And
yeah.
courage is not what is accepted in every day by women. So they considered that trouble. Because I would jump off a cliff with my arms out,
Yeah.
and people would say, "Are you crazy?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"I think I'm courageous."
Yeah, I'm just brave. Yeah, and
And
we
when you,
ourselves, we put that tax on ourselves too. It's like
oh,
when they used to say you're perfect, you should be perfect, you should be perfect. I was so fighting against being perfect, but at the same time trying to hold that. So it was kind of like exhausting because I was becoming obsessive compulsive
yeah.
of perfection,
What
and then
happens if I'm not perfect? What
yeah,
happens
it's
if
like
someone
I'm not
sees me?
loved. If I'm not perfect, I'm not loved. So I
Yeah.
need to feed that like perfection. And it was super exhausting until burnout. So until you burn out yourself, you get to discover what the pearl that is inside and what's real in you, you know? So it's not perfect. It's not perfection. It's like also courage.
Yeah.
It's courage to tell my truth and to be myself, you know, and yeah, and I know you, and I know that you're one of the most courageous women that I met in my life, you know,
Well, I was going to say
and
perfect too, so don't try to get out of that one.
and
Don't try to weasel your way out of that one.
you know what, we're all perfect in our imperfection.
Exactly.
That's the
That's
beauty
exactly
of
right.
it. It's like because we also say no. I mean, I was fighting the perfect that the people wanted to see in me, but I was not seeing the real perfection that was inside of me. And when I was able to see the perfection, it has to do with honesty. Yeah.
There was a list that came with it. You're perfect this way and this way. You're just thought perfect. And so all the things that you were, you start to, we overthink it. We're trying to be everything to everyone.
Yeah, totally.
Mothers, and you're a mother, and you're a wife, and you're a businesswoman. And so you want to be all of those at the highest level. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's a beautiful work, because when we try to do it from that perfection of like being everything and being seen and being, addressed, it's super hard. But whenever you do it like from honesty and from flowing and saying, okay, I do a lot of things because I'm an hyperactive, creative woman that needs to be creating things all the time. But I'm not attached to the result. And I'm doing a retreat, and I'm selling the retreat. I mean, if it's 5 people that comes, it's perfect. If it's 13 or 20 or 60, it's perfect too, because it's not about me. It's about like my service and allowing life to express itself the way it needs to express. And the people that is coming, it's going to be always, 100% of the time, the perfect fit, and the synchronicity is going to bring the right people to that thing. So I don't even have to worry about marketing or about selling anything, because when I was perfect, I wanted to be like the perfect seller, the perfect speech, the perfect thing. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not selling anything anymore. I'm just a service, and whatever that needs to express through me, it's going to happen.
I love that you said that, because, I used to do online retreats before I had a hotel. And I would do healing. In fact, I see a couple people on this live that are some of my clients. So I'm glad you guys are listening in. And when they did the online retreat, the right people came every single time. Like, whether it was 10 people or 20 people, or it didn't matter. They were the right fit for that group. And I love that. And it's the same thing now that I have a brick and mortar hotel retreat where people come. It's always the perfect people. And whether there's somebody who doesn't feel like they fit in, but they are your best lesson. There's all these different characters that come together, or maybe that person seems like, gosh, she's so beautiful. She becomes your lesson, because you start to value yourself on judging somebody else. It's so interesting how the right people come together to bring out the best in you. And even and the things that irritate you the most are usually the best parts, right? And I got to tell you, this is a crystal quartz mountain. If you've got something going on, it's going to ignite it. It's going to put it right in your face. Most people, I swear, come here and they don't even know why they're coming. They come and they're like, and everything just shows up within 24 hours. They know exactly where they're going. And you've done several very successful
I've done it.
retreats.
I've done several retreats in there, and it's hard for me to move to someplace else because of that. Because of the amount of the service, the food, all the terrenal things are amazing. But also that, like you're in the top of a quartz mountain. Same as me here. We're kind of neighbors, 20 minutes apart driving. But it's a place where there is change. There is like the jungle, trees growing and the rain. So it's high vibration. So just the vibration cleans yourself out, because you cannot hold things that are not high vibration, because that doesn't resonate with nature. And somehow, that mountain and that water, and it's more than everything that you do there. It's like the retreat, but it's also the setting, the energy of the place. I cannot move to another place and also, you have the best chefs in Costa Rica ever. You trained the people, and I know it's difficult because you train them and sometimes they leave and sometimes they come back. But I mean, there is the best. You have the best team, and I congratulate you, because now that I was there 15 days ago with Mario. I mean, the people, instead of you contracting and just closing the hotel, I mean, you invested in everything, and it's more beautiful than ever. Like, the people is so nice. the places I mean, that sauna room with the steam
Oh,
and the color lights with the steam, it feels like a almost a psychedelic experience just being sweating there, you know. I was
you
like,
know
for,
that's the chromotherapy is color therapy. We have it.
wow,
We have it in the baleotherapy and the sauna, and also in the infrared sauna. I mean
wow.
the steam and the infrared sauna. So you're constantly getting that light energy, light pulse energy that goes inside and heals whatever. So you've got the blues, the reds, the greens, and they're all. They have in a lot of retreats. They have color rooms. You just go in there and there's just
Wow.
light, and they just shine on you. Yeah.
I didn't know about that, but it was kind of like super healing because you don't see anything but like vapor and then the colors, and you're going like in another dimension, and then the smell of the herbs, and your body is just relaxing. You cannot not relax in there and get rid of all the toxicity or thoughts or everything, and just like being there and pasteurizing. We were pasteurizing, Mario and I, just like going there and then in the cold water and then in the hot water, and we get rid of the most of the pains that we were having there because yeah, the body. I
That.
think this is a feminine time with the feminine energy is expressing, but
Yeah.
also we're in our body, and our body is the vehicle to really, find this feminine. But here in the third dimension, because it's very easy to just meditate and think that meditating, we're gonna fix everything. And what I've learned, it's like I've been a meditator, and like I have a lot of planets in Earth in air, so I'm all the time wanting to meditate, and I was forgetting about my body. That's why the sciatica came, because I needed to regain power in my body to be the holder for all the spiritual and whatever work that I do. So
Yeah.
so I pampering my body has become something really, really important, even more than before, because it's like touching my body, like feeling my body, like feeling how my body express. And that, like a massage, for example, that Abhyanga therapy that we did there. I mean, that's kind of like a oil.
And not
How my
everybody feels that way. I mean, I have to tell you that feeling in your body is not normal for everyone. Some people are not in touch with their body. And I can tell you from somebody who's extremely sensitive and feels everything, probably too much, uh, when you're out of touch with your body, you can't feel everything. Something is covering your true sense, your true self. And it only takes a few days to uncover it. It doesn't take forever. Your body is constantly in a state of wanting to heal, constantly working for you. If you're working against it, whether it be physically, food wise, emotionally, mentally, stopping the flow, you just need a break. You just need to surrender for a few days, and you will feel light years better. I just told you I went to the beach, and I was in, whatever. I try to take care of myself, but I'm not really good at traveling and not having the foods I need and the exercise I need and the right bed. Like I said, I'm overly sensitive. So on day 4 or 5, I started to couldn't feel my body anymore. And first thing I did when I got here is I went into the, infrared sauna, and I got a treatment, and, and it'll take me about 3 days to get recalibrated to finding myself. But when you feel yourself, you know what it feels like. When someone touches you, the sensation of their energy touching your energy it's healing. It's
yeah,
so healing and
yeah,
fascinating, right? It feels so good to be seen, to be touched, to be felt. It's all those things. A lot of people don't feel that on a daily basis.
yeah.
They
And
don't
also
know.
they don't do it. And also the skin is like the layer that it's protecting us from what it's outside. So the
Exactly.
fact of not like addressing our skin or nurturing our skin with oils, or nurturing or allowing someone to touch our skin like in the right way, or go deep into the fascia or whatever, it's kind of like a defense. I know a lot of people that wouldn't allow themselves to be touched by
Yeah.
anyone, and
By
that's a defense, or feeling uncomfortable to being touched. And yeah, that's kind of like
But
a
that's again that layer. Once you
yeah,
start getting into the layer, then it becomes a welcoming experience. It's just like some people who can't meditate.
yeah.
They just can't silence their mind. But once they learn it little by little by little, it becomes part of their existence. And then they realize they're meditating when they're walking by themselves. They're meditating when they're humming a song. You find meditation in other ways that start to feel good. It's about, that's what the Ayurveda is so cool about. It's like it starts really chip away at the layers so you get to the core of what you call the pearl, the nucleus of who you are.
And also, you know what? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, to tell you about the oils, you were talking about the oils, and that's one of the magics of Ayurveda is they take all the herbs and they stew it in oil. And some of the herbs I've seen the doctor pick, like he'll hand pick them. This one's for inflammation. This one's for diuretic. This one's for opening the spirit. This one's for opening the third eye. And I'm like, how do you know? This is 7,000 years of ancient wisdom. And he stews it for days and days and days until it's infused. And then the whole process of Ayurveda, and believe me, I've questioned this because how can this kind of treatment heal you on a profound level? And it goes in and they did you have the Abhyangam? Did you have it?
Yeah, amazing. Yes. Because it's intense. It's super intense, but it moves you. It moves you. Parts of yourself that you're not able to move by yourself. Yes. So it takes the stagnation out of you, and also the herbs. You know, talking about the herbs, it's like herbs are living beings. I have a beautiful friend that is a plant whisperer that says like herbs are there for you, and whatever that grows in your garden, it's because that is what you need to heal. So we don't give the attention to the herbs that they need to have. But it's the best medicine, and the skin is the largest organ in our body. So whenever the herb comes in contact with your skin, it does not just heal your body or detoxes your body or nurtures your body. It's giving you the gifts of its energy, the resonance, the vibration. So it heals your heart.
Well, the treatment, as you know, starts with the head, opening up the crown chakra. And then when you lay down, they do this treatment where everything's a 10, I believe, and they're opening the chakras, and so that you can receive all the medicinal herbs. And I mean, it's four hands synchronized, and it's beautiful, and you're just like, you feel like your body's being taken away. And then, and this is of course with the herbal remedies, and then they just keep pushing it in and moving it into every part of your body. I mean, it's here, it's everywhere. It's in your feet. And they just infuse you to the point that what I heard, what Dr. Banad told me is that how many days after you do a treatment, it lasts for like 6 weeks to a month or 8 weeks. Every treatment that you have done continues to heal your body for 6 to 8 weeks afterwards.
Yeah, because it's inside. It's not like on the outer layer. It goes like deep inside.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, right? I'm like skeptical. I'm like, I did a whole month of it. And he's like, you will continue to heal for 18 months, he told me. And I was like, well, he's been gone now for a month, and I can still smell the herbs. I smell like curry sometimes. Not every day, but some days I'm like, oh my gosh, I can smell the Indian scents.
That's beautiful because
herbs. And this is after not doing a treatment for over a month or 2 months at this point.
And the movement, you were saying about like the movement, whenever we move, we tend to move like in the same way all the time, like our patterns, the way we walk, the way we move, the way we do exercise. And this therapy like changes the way you move. Like completely. It's like you see yourself from another perspective.
Well, it elongates the strokes, elongate the body, and laying on that wooden table is all about straightening the spine.
Yeah, wow. It's amazing. It creates a space.
Was the wooden table comfortable for you? Because
it was yes, because there was movement all the time. It's not like you're like just like a body there. It's like they're moving you and moving you and moving you. So it's kind of like this, like being in the blender, but whenever you're out, it's kind of like, wow, this feels so good, you know, and it lasted a lot.
For some people, the first session might not be so comfortable. That is the person who needs it the most.
Yeah, because you're
because their
resisting.
body is not aligned. And
Yeah.
so it feels rigid on this surface while they're being hand. And I know when I got here, I first couple of days I was on there, I was like, ooh, ooh, ah. And by
Yeah.
day 3, I was like Jello.
But
It was
that's
Jello.
again like the analogy of not resisting the hard surfaces, because the hard
Oh yeah.
surfaces are the ones that are like training you to flow and really it's not about just die in the table and other people doing things for you. It's about you getting the gift so you can stand up and being aware of what's happening.
So how did you
So,
feel that night after the treatment? Oh my
oh,
God.
total. I
The
mean, it
detox
was.
just continued.
I was, my skin changed, my body changed, my
Everything.
posture changed. I mean, I was kind of like, wow, this went so deep and touched
Powerful.
places that have never been moved in years, you know?
Right?
So it's so, yeah, I felt like
Yeah.
100%, and it lasted like a month, as I said. And also I know how to feel my body and how to feel myself. When something is out of whack, I feel it immediately. But this was one of the best treatments I've
Yeah.
ever had.
I'm with you.
And
I'm
and
just
and then
amazed.
is when I said, let's do a retreat in here, because I mean we were all like in enclosure, and
Oh,
we're all like needing nurturing. We're needing to go out to share with women, to change the scenery. And that's when I say, let's make a retreat. So we're having a retreat in the retreat, like
I
a
love it.
2-night retreat, 3 days and 2 nights,
Love it.
September 21st, to be with you, to be there. You have a beautiful meal, to have these treatments, maybe do threads, all of
Oh
us.
yeah.
We're
We'll
all
get
gonna
Lizzie
go
to
out.
put braids in. Anybody who wants them.
Yes, I'm so looking forward for that. And I need to cut this conversation because if it lasts more than an hour, I cannot save it, and I really want to save it. And we have
Oh,
like
okay.
8 minutes left. So yeah, it went so fast. But do you have
Well,
some
for
final thought
practical,
that you can share?
well, I just want to tell you, for practical purposes, the retreat is completely safe.
Yeah,
Everybody
I
is,
agree.
so if there's anybody worried about, the rooms are separated enough that everybody can have their
Yeah,
peaceful time, their quiet time. Um, it's a perfect time to come and go inside. And,
yeah.
I, for one, am not afraid. I would so look forward to some woman time, some girl
Ah,
time,
we're
and
gonna have it.
time, and spending time with you, spending time with
Hmm.
all your guests. So I really
Yeah.
hope that, I hope that to see you soon with a
Yeah.
big group of the most perfect people, because they're all coming. The perfect people who are supposed to be here, the ones who are going to be here,
They're
and that's what I
already,
can't wait for.
yeah, they're already booking, and the group is beautiful, and we're
Yeah,
gonna be there. The ones that need to be there, and the ones that live in Costa Rica for sure, because like the borders are still closed for some people.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm so looking forward to it, and to go back to
Some
my
extra
house,
fun
my
things
home, because
too.
your retreat is my second home, because I barely I cannot trust anyone else, any other place to bring
Thank
my
you.
most trusted people, because I mean you have you know you have the perfection there, and everything is super beautiful.
You
The
you always
spa
bring
is
you always bring
amazing.
beautiful people. You really do. You always bring beautiful
Oh.
guests we love so much.
Well,
Really.
that's resonance. Isn't it beautiful? I mean, it's resonance. I resonate with the people. They resonate with us. We resonate with you. We resonate with the place. So this life is all about resonance and putting yourself in, being what you want to get in your life. And we're going to talk about all that in the retreat: women's circles, walks, trance dance,
Totally.
Avianga treatments, perfect food, and sharing and being together, just to be strong for whatever that's coming. And yeah, if you want to, like, all the information of the retreat is in my bio in here. And I'm so looking forward to see you, Diana, September
I'm
21st, 22nd, and 23rd, and sharing with you. Thank you for this space. I'm going to have to cut because I want to really save this conversation. But
okay.
thank you.
Love
Thank you
you.
for being so brave, and for having this amazing place, and for being you. I really admire you, and I'm so happy to be close to you. Love you so much. Bye bye. And
Bye.
bye to everyone. Adiós a todas. Esta conversación fue en inglés, pero seguramente hay una app en donde la pueden traducir, porque todos los apps existen en la vida para poderla traducir. Yo la voy a subir en mi muro. Y para que la puedan ver, ¿ok? I love you. A big kiss. Thank you.
Bye.